Okay, so what we're talking about today is the constant anger in the tech community. It's nonstop. It's like you put up a video and somebody is angry. And look, I get that that's the nature of the the internet, but this was not always this way. And I'm not just complaining about people being angry on my videos. Everywhere I go, it's like everybody in the tech space has decided that we just need to be angry. We need to be angry about everything. We need to be angry all the time. We need to hold big tech accountable. Big tech is screwing us over. We need to be pissed. You need to be pissed. And I finally realized, I think at least partly where it was coming from today. And let me give you a little background so you don't just think I'm some stupid new YouTuber that knows nothing. So I am 38 years old. I have been into enthusiast tech for, well, I think my very first, shall we say, enthusiast gaming computer that I bought in 2003. So that was 21 years ago. Okay, so I've been around. I'm not just some new guy that's only been around since 1080 Ti and only remembers Pascal and the good times. Okay, I was there the whole time, and this was not always like this. Okay, especially the constant barrage of every single time a new product comes out, especially GPUs, though not only GPUs. Especially when new GPUs come out, it's just a constant barrage of the value isn't good, the price is terrible, they're trying to screw us over. Look, I'm not here to defend AMD or NVIDIA. They both do their stuff. And they're both charging as much money as they possibly think they can for these video cards. And that's their job, okay? But here's the thing, especially when it comes to price. I was looking into it, and I believe so. This card I have sitting here is an AMD Radeon 7970. The top video card when this card was released, around the time this card, I think it may have been released a few months later, something like that. The top video card that would have been in the same ecosystem as this was something I believe called the GeForce GTX Titan Z, I think is what that was. And it was essentially, from what I can tell from the research I've done, the small amount of research I've done, it looks fairly similar to a GTX 690. I think it was maybe a pair of the first generation Titan cores on one. I can't remember exactly, but in any case, that card, I think when I looked it up, that card retailed for something like $3,000. Now, back in the day, and same thing with the Core i7, I believe the 965X was the first super high-end i7 chip. I believe that chip was $800, $900, $1,000, something like that. Just like top tier consumer pro level chips today. Now it's true there were a lot of budget options as well, but back in the day, back then, I think I've figured out where the problem lies. And there's going to be people that tell me I'm stupid. This is a contentious topic. I understand that. It's probably going to get views. Feel free to laugh at me if you're the only person watching this video and you look and it has like 5 views. But I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a lot of views and it's going to get upvoted. It's going to get downvoted. These kind of videos, they seem to be contentious. I'm not going to back off on my opinion. I believe I'm at least largely correct. So I think that the problem is all of these YouTube influencers. So I was watching and this was what led me to make this video. I was watching a Jay's 2 Cents video today, and he did a video about an old X299 build that he had from years ago. It was X299, and I think it had several Titan XP Pascal cards in it. And that's a card that in theory is slightly faster than a 1080 Ti. I believe in practice it's slightly slower for gaming, which is what most of us here care about. But he kept referring throughout. I'll admit I didn't watch the entire video, but I did watch all of the opening of the video, and the part that I watched, I think I watched maybe all of the first 5 minutes and then skipped around. But And that's what a lot of people do. Keep in mind, that's not unusual. He constantly was on about it's old, it's outdated. I don't know how well this is going to do, which is total nonsense. He knew exactly how well it was going to do. Anyone that's in the enthusiast space knows exactly how a 7th gen i9 with a Titan XP is going to do. It's going to do great. That system is going to run any modern game you throw at it at medium to high. The only game, again, that I always talk about that would be in doubt would be what is it? Jedi Survivor always just absolutely destroys anything you throw at it. But that aside, he knew that system would run just fine. And yet it's not just him. It's just his are largely outspoken compared to a lot of other people. But I'm sitting there watching him describe as old and outdated and hardware that most of the viewers of my channel and most of the viewers of his channel are still going to consider high-end hardware. I have X299 on hand. It runs most of my testing. Most of the testing I do is on X299. But I also have a 13th gen 4090 build. I have newer hardware. But it's this constant barrage in people's faces that they need. Essentially, I mean, look, if you're going on your videos and you're describing fairly high-end hardware as old and outdated, if people take you seriously, they're going to feel like they need new hardware. And look, if you can afford new hardware, that's great. I can afford new hardware. That's great. Wonderful for me. Yippee for me. But not everyone can. And so describing hardware that for all intents and purposes is still fairly good hardware as old and outdated is just, it's really, I think it's pissing people off. Or at least not that act in and of itself is not pissing people off, but it's pissing people off in so much as it makes people think they need new hardware. And so then they see this new hardware come out and they can't afford it. And here's the thing, back in the day, we didn't have a YouTube influencer scene, okay? Back when 1st gen i7 came out, you had what, like PC Hardware Magazine or something like that? You know, Popular Mechanics, I think, may have still been a thing back then. I can't remember, but it was that kind of stuff. But you didn't have a constant barrage in every even entry-level enthusiast's face saying, this is overpriced, this should cost less, this is a terrible value, this is a terrible product, this is awful, you shouldn't buy this is a terrible value, don't buy. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy any given product. I'm just saying it's a constant barrage of negativity from these people they're influencers. They are influential. It's what they do. I'm not denying that. They influence people. And, back in the day, did it suck? I couldn't afford top-end hardware back then. I didn't have a DirectX 11 card until 2 or 3 years after they hit the market. I didn't rage about the fact that I couldn't afford an i7 965X. Most of the people that could afford those kind of parts were a lot older than me. I was in my 20s. These were people in their 40s and 50s, PC enthusiasts that were buying these parts. I didn't rant about not being able to buy, a pair of GTX 280s and an i7 965 Extreme. I went out and I bought an i7 920 and I paired it with what at that point in time was an older pair of GeForce GTX 8800, or they weren't even GTX, they were just 8800. No, they weren't even GTX. They were 8800 Ultras. I had a pair of 8800 Ultras that I had gotten for free from a friend who was one of those enthusiasts that had the money for the newer stuff. And I made do with that. I didn't complain about it. Look, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't complain. I'm not saying everyone should be happy with overpriced hardware. I'm just saying there was not a constant barrage of negativity, and I think it needs to stop. And it's completely counterproductive. NVIDIA isn't going to lower the price on the 4090 because Linus says so or because Jay says so. Okay, they're going to sell that part for as much as the market can bear. And if the market does not bear $15, $16.99, they'll either back off or they'll release a product that they can afford to produce at a lower price. That's just how it is. Like, getting angry especially at product prices. Look, getting angry at Asus for a crappy warranty experience, that may make a difference. But getting angry at Asus because I don't know, a Maximus 9, 10, 20, 30, whatever motherboard you think is overpriced, that's not going to get them to lower the price. Not by much, not by an amount that's going to affect you. So, look, people are going to come on here, they're going to say I'm a shill for the manufacturers, and that's not the case. And, I will point out also that the reason I have this video card in front of me is because I've been testing this card the last week or so. I'm having fun testing this card. I'm having fun running legacy games that this card can run, in spite of the fact that I've got a 4090. I've got a 4090. It's over there. You can't see it. It's off camera. It's buried in a box. It's not currently being used. Yeah, I know. Q, comment. Well, if you're not using it, send it to me. Yada, yada. In any case, I'm having fun with this card. I'm running legacy games. I'm running Old Crisis. I'm running, what else did I run? Far Cry 3. I think I may have messed with Titanfall 2. I think I even pushed this up to Cyberpunk, if I remember right. And I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Even if Cyberpunk runs at low settings, 1080p, I'm having fun seeing what I can do with this card. So, new hardware is great. I'm not going to tell you don't need a 4090. Trust me, if you have the money to afford a 4090, you need a 4090. Do not let anyone tell you don't need that 4090. If you have the money and you can buy that card, you need a 4090. The card's an amazing hunk of technology. But if you don't have any money for hardware at all, and the hand-me-down you got has a Radeon 7970, there's a ton of fun to be had with this card. There's a ton of games, modern games and older games, that run well. You don't need to be unhappy. You don't need to be angry. Just play with the hardware and have fun, people. That's all I have to say. Anyway, hope you guys found this interesting, an interesting perspective on the matter, and thanks for watching the video.